Hi guys, it's me, Olivia. Long time no see. I haven't made a video for this channel since I think our last video was like our wedding video or something, which was August of last year. I don't know if we've made anything since then. I don't know. But here I am today. A lot of you may already know this, but me and Alec are going to have a baby. And this video is going to basically outline everything that has happened since we found out. And after this, I'm hoping to keep up with weekly or maybe bi-weekly pregnancy updates all the way up till the baby is born. So this is kind of the first in that series. I have notes down here so I don't forget stuff, so if you see me looking down, that's why. These videos for now are gonna be pretty casual, probably not heavy editing, just because I am tired all the time and I don't have a lot of energy, and I will get more into that later. But I guess I'll just start with how we found out. So me and Alec have known that we wanted to have kids like probably after a year and a half into our relationship. It's something that I've always wanted. I've always wanted to be a mom. We've had this plan of getting married and then having a baby pretty soon after. Pretty much since we got engaged. So when we got married, we basically started trying for a baby right away. Like within the first week after we got married, we were like, all right, let's start trying. I had been a little bit worried about whether or not I would be able to get pregnant because pretty much since I was like 18, I've had super irregular periods, and I think it's probably because I've gained weight since then, and when you gain weight, sometimes that can mess up your periods. For those who don't know, this video is probably going to be a little bit TMI. If you're watching pregnancy videos, that's kind of what you're signing up for, so sorry. But not like super gross, but like, you know, a little bit of TMI. But yeah, so my periods have always been super irregular. Sometimes I like wouldn't even have one at all. And so that was something that had concerned me pretty much from the very beginning. But we decided we would go a couple months, maybe 2 or 3 months, trying to get pregnant naturally, and that just wasn't working. I don't know if I wasn't ovulating or what, but so I made an appointment with a OBGYN. And it was my very, very first gyno appointment, which for those of you out there who have ever been to a gyno, you know that your very first appointment is very scary. So I went to that, and Alec went with me for those because that was before the whole COVID thing happened. But that was like the end of 2019. And so I went to my OB, and she gave me 2 prescriptions, one for a medication called Provera and another one for Clomid. Now the Provera is supposed to kickstart your period, so like if you don't have one naturally, the Provera will make you have one. And then the Clomid is something that you start taking a couple days into your period, and that's going to make you ovulate after your period's over. The side effects of those were pretty intense. My emotions were all over the place. I had like insane muscle pain, and also my feet got really itchy, like really excruciatingly itchy at night. But yeah, luckily that only lasted while I was on the medication and for a few days after, but that went away. I ovulated and we tried to get pregnant. That time it didn't work. I was pretty discouraged after that, but I just had to keep reminding myself, like, for normal couples, sometimes it can take up to a year, like for people who have normal periods, to get pregnant. So I was like, I just gotta be patient. I was just being super impatient. And so after that, we waited a few months to try the Clomid again. And it was after March, because it was after I got back from my California trip with my family. We called the OB again, and we got another prescription for the Provera and the Clomid. Went on those, did the whole cycle the way I was supposed to, and then when the time came, we tried, and at that point I was like, okay, I'm gonna start seriously logging all of my symptoms from this point on, so that in case I do get pregnant, I can have all of that information. Here's where my notes come in. So if you couldn't tell, that was the cycle that we got pregnant in April. It was like right at the end of April that we got pregnant. We found out on May 28th, which was when I would have been around 6 weeks pregnant. Now, the way that they measure pregnancy is your pregnancy starts on the day of your last period, which was April 16th for me. So at that point, May 28th, I would have been 6 weeks pregnant. Gestationally, the baby really would have only been 4 weeks developmentally, but they count that as 6 weeks pregnant. A full pregnancy is 9 months, which I think is like 40 weeks. So on the 23rd of May, before I got the positive pregnancy test, my first symptoms were super sore boobs. Like, couldn't touch them, nothing could be near them. I couldn't have them like touching the bed while I was sleeping. It was terrible. I had cramping on one side or the other, so it felt kind of like ovulation cramps, but it wasn't, because it wasn't the right time for that. Again, a little TMI, I had really bad digestive issues. Like, I was constipated and having diarrhea at the same time. And acid reflux, which is something I've always struggled with, but for some reason it was like ramped up like to 100. It was terrible. My dreams got really strange. And that was like one of the very first things I noticed, which is weird because usually that doesn't happen until later on in your pregnancy, but I definitely got those. Fatigue. The fatigue was probably the worst symptom that I noticed right off the bat. And I don't mean like a little bit yawny throughout the day. I mean like wake up at noon, take 2 or 3 naps throughout the day, and still be able to be in bed by 10:30 and sleep for a full night. And it was just, I couldn't go more than like 5 hours being awake. It was terrible. I do remember seeing a little bit of implantation bleeding, which is, it's different from like period bleeding because it's a lot lighter, usually like a really light pink color. My period was due on the 22nd, so at this point when I first noticed all of these symptoms, I was already 1 day late for my period. And then on the 28th, those symptoms continued throughout that time, but then on the 28th, I was 7 days late, and my symptoms had gotten more intense. And at this point was my first time experiencing nausea, which I didn't know at the time was morning sickness. But the term morning sickness leads you in the wrong direction, because it doesn't just happen in the morning. It happens anytime throughout the day, for any duration of time, it feels like, and it's different levels of severity for every different person. Like, some people are literally puking from the moment they wake up to the moment they go to bed, and some people, like me, get like 10-minute bouts of nausea here and there, but I never actually throw up, which I'm actually really thankful for, because I hate throwing up. I mean, knock on wood, because I'm still pretty early in my pregnancy, and there's always the chance that the nausea could come come with a vengeance later on, but let's hope that doesn't happen. The digestive problems continued, the heartburn, the fatigue, and the cramping continued, and the breast soreness also continued. So at that point, when I felt that first bout of nausea, I told Alec about it, and he was like, "Are you pregnant?" That was like the first thing he said, and I was like, no, I don't want to get my hopes up. I didn't want to take the test because I didn't want to be disappointed if it was negative. So I was really hesitant to take that test. But then I was talking on Discord actually with one of my friends, a pretty good friend of mine, and I was explaining to him like all my symptoms, and I was just like, I really think I might be pregnant, but I don't want to take the test because I don't want to be disappointed if it's a negative, and I don't want to feel like I'm crazy. And he's just like, bro, you gotta just do it. So I finally mustered up enough courage, and I jumped up out of my seat, and I went and I took the test. I set the timer on my phone, waited the 3 minutes, and then I went in the bathroom and I looked at it. Meanwhile, Alec was streaming in the office, and we're pretty much both in the office literally all day long together. Like, even if he's streaming, like, our computers are right next to each other, so I'm usually like playing games with our friends or watching YouTube videos or whatever. So he was in the middle of a stream, in the butt middle of a stream, trying to FC this song, and and I looked at the test, and it was a raging positive, and my first reaction was shock. Like, I felt completely numb, and then I was disbelief, because I was like, there's no way that I just got a positive pregnancy test. So, and then once those emotions passed, I started crying, and I instantly needed Alec, because for me, when I am feeling emotions very intensely, Alec is like the only thing that can calm me down. So I instantly needed Alec, and I also wanted to tell him, because he wanted a baby as much as I did at that point. So I walked into the office, still bawling my eyes out, holding the pregnancy test, and I sat there and I looked at his computer screen from behind him and waited for him to be done playing the song that he was playing on his stream. And then as soon as he was done with that song, I was like, honey, come here really quick, it's really important. And so he gets up from his stream and he comes out into the hallway, and he's like, whoa, what's wrong? And I just showed it to him, and I said, I'm pregnant. And he was super happy. Like, we were laughing and crying at the same time, and I hugged him, and he looked at it and he was like, oh my god, no way. And then I'm like, I'm sorry I told you in the middle of your stream. And he's like, oh no, it's okay. And I'm like, you can't tell anybody right now. And he's like, oh, seriously? And I'm like, no, you cannot tell your stream right now. I literally just found out 5 minutes ago. And so he decided that he wanted to go back to streaming and act normal, which I was fine with, because we had our moment to celebrate together very briefly, and I figured after his stream we'd talk about it some more. So he went back to stream, and I just sat on my computer and I told a couple of close friends, and then I ran into my bedroom. I FaceTimed my family, my mom, my aunt, and my nana, and some other family members, and oh god, there's a heartburn. And I told them instantly, which is honestly, I feel like it's up to each individual person when they want to tell their family. Some people opt to wait until later in the pregnancy because the chance of miscarriage in your first trimester is like, I don't know what the percentage is, but it's pretty high. Like, it can happen. So people usually wait until the second trimester to tell anybody, because at that point the chances of miscarriage drop dramatically. But for me, I was just like, you know what, this is something I've wanted for such a long time. It's a huge thing. It's like a really big deal, and I just want to celebrate with as many people as I can. So I told all of my close family and close friends, and then we decided we weren't gonna go public with it, like on Twitter or Twitch or anything. So that was the story of how we found out we were pregnant, and I hope you enjoyed this video. There will be a lot more pregnancy and baby related content coming. And I'm sorry if that's not what you're into, but that's kind of what this channel is gonna be for a while, because that is like the biggest part of our lives right now. If that's something that you're interested in watching, then go ahead and subscribe to this channel. It won't be baby videos forever, but for right now, that's what it's gonna be. The next video will probably be my symptoms so far for the last 3 weeks. As of today, I am 9 weeks and 5 or 6 days. On Thursdays, I turn a new week. So I will give you all the updates about my symptoms and my cravings and all that fun stuff in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!